Imagine hiding under a bed, close enough to touch the dust ruffle, while a killer paces the room just feet away. Imagine watching through a gap in the fabric as he works, knowing that one wrong breath, one creak of the floorboard, means you're next. That's exactly where an 11-year-old boy finds himself, trapped in his neighbor's house, staring at a bathtub he wishes he'd never looked inside. He came here chasing a woman's voice from 25 years in the future. What he found instead was proof that she was right about everything. Let's rewind and see how it all began. In 1989, a violent storm rolls through Western Europe on the same night the Berlin Wall falls. Amid the chaos, a boy named Nico Lasarte is recording himself playing guitar when he hears screaming next door. He sneaks into his neighbor Angel's house and finds Angel's wife dead on the floor. Angel corners him with a knife. Nico bolts, and in his panic, gets struck by a car. Angel is arrested for murder. Nico dies in the hospital. 25 years later, in 2014, another storm hits during the same weather anniversary. A couple, Vera and David, have just moved into Nico's old house with their 2-year-old daughter, Gloria. While clearing out the storage room, they discover Nico's vintage television, camera, and a stack of old tapes. When David plugs everything in, the television inexplicably starts broadcasting live coverage of the Berlin Wall falling, footage that shouldn't exist outside of 1989. At dinner the next night, their neighbor Ida recognizes the boy in the tapes as his childhood best friend, Nico, and recounts the story of his death. Ida's mother, Clara, is visibly uneasy through the telling. Afterward, David researches the case and learns that Angel died in prison just months into his sentence, but not before confessing he'd buried his wife's body in his workshop. That night, as the storm intensifies, Vera is woken by noise from the living room. The old television is playing the 1989 broadcast again, and this time, Nico himself appears on screen, mid-recording, guitar in hand. Astonished, he realizes someone from the television is watching him back. The two begin talking across 25 years. Vera tries to convince him she's speaking from 2014. Then Nico hears Angel and his wife fighting next door. Knowing what's coming, Vera begs him not to go over. She tells him he'll die if he does. Nico ignores her, but her warning delays him just long enough. He still discovers the murder, but this time the car never hits him. His life is saved, and the timeline shatters. Vera wakes the next morning in a hospital she doesn't recognize as her own life. Colleagues call her doctor instead of nurse. Her daughter's school has no record of Gloria. Her husband David doesn't know who she is. A young police officer takes her statement but finds no marriage certificate, no daughter, nothing to confirm her story. An MRI comes back clean. She isn't losing her mind. She's living in a version of 2014 that unfolded without her ever raising a family. Digging through records, Vera finds a published book about a boy named Nico Lasarte, a time travel story credited as an idea from his mother. She rushes home, only to find strangers living there, and Angel, never caught, never imprisoned in this timeline, living next door with his new wife, Clara. The commotion draws police, and Vera is forced to run. Back in 1989, Nico can't stop thinking about the woman who spoke to him through the television. That evening, he returns to Angel's house to see if it was real. It wasn't. He finds the wife's body in the bathtub and, digging for answers, finds a passport bearing her identity but Clara's photograph. Angel and Clara are having an affair, and Clara plans to steal the dead woman's identity and disappear. Before Nico can escape with the passport, Angel returns home. Nico dives under the bed, forced to watch in silence as Angel disposes of the evidence just feet away, escaping only when a phone call finally pulls Angel from the room. In the present, Vera turns to Ida for help, but in this timeline he's never met her. His real romantic history was with Vera herself, a relationship that, in the original timeline, led to him introducing her to his friend David. None of that happened here. Undeterred, she tracks down the police officer from earlier and convinces him to search Angel's old workshop, using details only the real Nico could have known. Skeletal remains are found exactly where she said they'd be. Angel and Clara are arrested. Chasing the last thread of her old life, Vera locates the address of the grown Nico Lasarte, only to find her husband David there instead. cheating on his new timeline wife. Disgusted but resourceful, she blackmails him into using his banking access to track down Nico's real location. During interrogation, Angel finally explains what happened that night in 1989. His actual wife walked in on him with Clara, attacked them with a knife, and died by accident in the struggle before being thrown down the stairs to cover it up. Nico reported everything to police at the time, but falsified records proved the wife was alive and abroad, and Nico was written off as a delusional child. He and his mother left town, and Nico spent the rest of his life certain he'd one day meet the woman from the future again. That woman finally finds him and discovers the grown Nico is the very officer who's been helping her investigate. After Vera saved his life as a boy and obsessed, older Nico eventually met her in a Madrid metro station in 2011. The same meeting that, in the original timeline, was meant for Eider. Nico and Vera fell in love, married, and built a life together. Because Vera never crossed paths with Eider in this version of events, she never met David, never had Gloria. The family she remembers never existed here at all. Devastated but resolute, Vera refuses to accept this life, no matter how much Nico loves her. Desperate to return to her daughter, she takes drastic action, forcing Nico to intervene. He breaks into his childhood home, reconnects the old television and camera, and reaches his younger self one final time, passing on everything he's learned to set the timeline right again. Vera wakes up back in her true home, disoriented but overjoyed to find David and Gloria exactly where they belong. Nico, in his original 1989 timeline, quietly lets go of the future he once dreamed of, choosing her happiness over his own. In the final scene, Vera encounters him again, but this time, he's a stranger who has no idea who she is. So here's the question. If saving someone meant erasing your own entire life with them, would you still do it? Let me know your answer in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this recap, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss the next one.